I was the first one there that morning, waiting in the marketplace before the sun had fully risen. Work was scarce, and my family was hungry. If I didn't find a job today, I didn't know how we'd survive another night. So when the landowner came, I jumped at his offer. A denarius for a full day's work. Fair pay. Honest work. I didn't think twice. The vineyard was sprawling, its rows stretching endlessly under the rising sun. The work was hard, pulling weeds, tying vines, hauling heavy baskets. The heat was brutal, the kind that saps your strength and leaves your throat parched. But I pushed through, hour after hour, because I knew the reward waiting at the end of the day. Around mid-morning, the landowner returned with more workers. I barely noticed at first, too focused on my task. But by noon, he'd brought in even more, and then again at mid-afternoon. By late afternoon, just an hour before sunset, he brought in a final group. I shook my head as they strolled in, barely breaking a sweat as they picked a few grapes here and there. I had been there since dawn, my body aching, my hands blistered. What kind of sense did it make to bring workers so late? Finally, the sun dipped below the horizon, and we lined up for our pay. I stood at the front, ready to receive what I'd earned. But then I saw something that stopped me cold. The latecomers, the ones who'd worked barely an hour, received a full denarius. My jaw tightened. A denarius? For them, they didn't deserve it. When it was my turn, I held out my hand, expecting something more, something fitting for the hours I had given. But the landowner placed the same denarius in my hand. "That's it?" I demanded, my voice rising. "I worked all day in the scorching heat, and they worked 1 hour? How is this fair?" He looked at me, calm but firm. "Friend, I am not being unfair to you. Didn't you agree to work for a denarius? Take your pay and go. I want to give the one who was hired last the same as I gave you. Don't I have the right to do what I want with my own money? Or are you envious because I am generous?" His words hit me like a blow. Envious? No, I wasn't envious. Was I? But the truth sank in. I wasn't angry because I'd been cheated. I was angry because someone else had been blessed in a way I didn't think they deserved. That night, I thought about how often I measure worth by effort, how I resent grace when it's given to someone I think hasn't earned it. In today's world, we live in the same trap, comparing, competing, always trying to prove we deserve more than the next person. But grace doesn't work that way. It isn't about what we earn. It's about the generosity of the one who gives. And maybe, just maybe, that's a better way.